StraightallDay.com.
You can never be dangerous while playing it safe. One thing that made me think about this topic was I was thinking back to a TV show or a TV series that I watched. I do not watch TV anymore. I haven't watched TV it's been a long time since I watched TV, but there was a time years ago that I was dating this girl who watched TV all the time. And she got me into watching some things on TV that I'm actually glad that I watched them because they were actually good. She was watching some stuff that was actually good. I didn't watch everything she participated with, but a good number of things. So she introduced me to Friends, the TV show. I like that show. Sex and the City, another one, including the movies. Game of Thrones, The Wire, The Sopranos, and Breaking Bad. And this is the show that I was thinking of when I thought of this topic right here today. If you did not watch the TV show Breaking Bad, I would suggest you do. It's actually a good show. There's a lot to be learned about business, marketing, and mindset in the show, even though the show is not really about those things. Really just a docu-series, a drama series, where the main character of the show is this guy named Walter White. Walter White is this nobody, forgettable, middle-aged high school chemistry teacher who seems to come alive when he comes to his school, when he goes to school and talks to the kids about chemistry. But you can think about when you were in high school chemistry class, unless you planned on going to be a science major or something, you didn't give a fuck about chemistry class like me, and a teacher who's all enthusiastic about a topic that you are sitting in because you have to. You can think of the energy that his students would have towards him. That's how it was. And he was just this nobody guy who's just basically, why don't we just fast forward your next 40 years of your life so you can be dead because you are making no impact on the world. That's who Walter White was. And I'm not going to tell the whole story of the show, but long story short, Walter White becomes the biggest methamphetamine drug dealer in the Western United States over the course of the show. And again, one of the reasons, one thing I will say about him becoming a methamphetamine dealer is that he was able to make a higher quality of this street drug than anyone who was selling it in the street, simply because he was a fucking chemist and he was actually good at chemistry. He actually got to use his chemistry skills in real life instead of just teaching the theory out of an outdated textbook in a classroom. This is who Walter White becomes. And what I'm talking about here today is not really about this, but at one point in the show, what happens is Walter's wife, she does not know exactly what he's doing. She never actually knows exactly what he's doing, but she suspects that there are some changes happening with him, and she notices that some dangerous things are happening in the neighborhood where they live. And she, at one point in the show, is talking to Walter and telling him, I think her name was Skylar, if I remember her name on the show. She's trying to warn Walter, hey, there are dangerous things happening in the neighborhood. You need to be careful because bad things have been happening. And Walter, at this point, he's kind of getting into his zone mentally in the show. And he's mentally in his zone, and he gets kind of annoyed, or I guess what some of you would say triggered, by the fact that his wife is admonishing him to be careful. Because at this point, again, she doesn't know this, but he has become one of the biggest drug dealers in the country. He has a ton of money, and he is actually one of the most dangerous people out there because he's done some dangerous shit that his wife, again, doesn't know about. So he's kind of living this double life. And he admonishes his wife by letting her know that anytime she sees danger happening in the world or in the community, she should not worry about anything happening to him. Instead, she should worry about him happening to somebody else. And because he is the danger, not the victim. And again, you can go watch the show Breaking Bad and you can learn about this yourself. If you want to see the clip that actually got me thinking about this, just go on YouTube and type in Walter White and knocks, Knocks, like knock on the door. And there's a clip where he says, I am the one who knocks. That's usually probably going to be the title of the clip. I was just watching it maybe about a week or two ago from when I'm recording this. And it's probably 2 minutes long. Go watch that clip. That clip is what inspired this episode that I'm talking about here today. So the topic, once again, is why you can never be dangerous while playing it safe. Point number one, danger, ladies and gentlemen, is bold energy. That's what danger is. Danger is bold energy. Let's get a definition of this word danger. The definition of, misspelled it. Definition of danger is exposure or vulnerability to harm or risk. That's the feeling of danger. Then the thing that is danger, the other way you can look at it, is a source or instant of risk or peril. You could also consider it to be power, especially the power to harm. Danger is bold, ladies and gentlemen. Danger is an aggressive, forward moving person, place, or thing. We can just call it that. Bold energy, and this is something that if you read my favorite book called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, chapter 28, Interaction with Boldness. Bold energy removes objects from your path. It moves people and things out of your way. When you are moving boldly and you are completely focused and there are no distractions in your mind and no conflicts in your mind, when you move, and I mean literally when you move, objects and people tend to move out of your way. Not because they know you, not because they know anything about you, not because they have any idea what's going on in your mind, but because when you are embodying danger and you are fully focused, usually when you're in the embodiment of danger, being the danger, you're usually focused specifically on whatever it is you're trying to be dangerous to, or just how you're being dangerous, period. That tends to accompany focus, or focus tends to accompany danger is a more accurate way of saying it. And when you are focused, you don't notice what most people see, what most people would see as a distraction. Distractions are relative, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Same thing that is distracting you now could not be distracting you at all, even though it has not gone away, simply because you found focus. Usually when you're dangerous, you're focused. When you're being bold, you're focused. So when you're bold and dangerous and focused, other people pick up on that energy, even if you do not say a word, and they tend to move out of your way. Why? Because you tend to look like you know where you're going. And since most people don't know where they're going, when they encounter you and you do know where you're going, they get out of your way. Why? Because you are more clear on what you want than they are on what they want. Isn't that interesting? I think it is. You should rewind that and listen to it again, because this is a huge part of the dynamics of how human beings deal with each other. When you are fully focused, fully bold, fully energized, and there are no distractions that you are aware of. Anything could distract you, but you're not aware of them because you're going straight towards where you want to go. Some people you may have heard the term tunnel vision. When someone is dangerous, bold, and focused, they have tunnel vision. And literally, any of you who pay attention to physiology, your pupils narrow. When someone is angry or focused, their pupils get smaller because that allows you to focus specifically on whatever you're looking at, and you don't see everything around it. You don't see the ancillary things around it. When you are taking something in, let's say you're surprised or you're happy or you're excited about something, your pupils tend to dilate, they get bigger so you can see more of what's going on around you. This is a literal thing. When you are focused, the pupils dilate and they get smaller, and people can feel the energy coming off the person who is in that state. They get the hell out of your way. Objects and obstacles find their way out of your way when you have this energy. And any of you want to talk about things like the law of the universe and energy. And we talk about Sir Isaac Newton's 3 laws of energy, 3 laws of motion, rather. One of them being the law of reciprocity. Energy that you put out is energy you get back. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When you put out a certain type of energy, there's a certain type of energy that comes back to you. And when you have the energy of being fully focused, people get out of your way. That's the energy that comes back. And when you have the energy of being distracted and not knowing where you're going and being divided, and you got all these different things going on and you don't quite know what to focus on, you know what happens? Objects and people just find a way to get in your way and slow you down. Why? Because you're asking for it. When you're asking for this energy, that's exactly what you get. Your energy of being focused unconsciously tells people to get out the way. And when you're playing it safe and being slow, tentative, and hesitant, that's exactly what happens to you. Any of you who want to think about this, any of you who's dealing with this right now in your life, that obstacles just seem to be jumping in front of you randomly, and you're like, why is this obstacle getting in my way? Why is this happening right now? Why is this person bothering me? Why is this person knocking on my door? Why is this person emailing me? Why are they texting me? Why am I getting all this nonsense getting in my way that has nothing to do with where you think you're trying to go? One of the reasons why, often if you think about it, if you be honest with yourself, or you have a coach like me who can help you with this, I will point out to you that for whatever reason, you are being mentally or physically slow, you are being tentative, and you're being hesitant. When you are in these 3 states, things tend to get in your way. And it seems to be magical how things just find a way to get the hell in your way and slow you down and stop you from doing whatever it is that you want to do. All right, this is not some random magic of the universe, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real thing because you're inviting the energy. The energy you put out has an equal and opposite reaction. Hesitant energy causes people to slow you down and get in your way. Bold energy causes people to get the hell out of your way. When people sense tentativeness and hesitancy in you, they'll just keep slowing you down, delaying you, rejecting you, ignoring you, and otherwise just not cooperating with you and inhibiting your forward motion. The reason they do this is not because people want to see you fail. It's not because people are bad people. They do this because your hesitance brings out boldness in others. This is just the polarity of the universe. Read Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Read chapter 28. He explains this very well. That the type of energy that you bring to dealing with other human beings tends to cause the opposite energy to come from them. So some people say that the energy you bring is the energy that you get back. That's often not the case. Sometimes that happens, and that's what we tend to notice. But actually, the reality is the energy that you bring actually brings out the opposite in other people. You go somewhere, go to the mall, wherever you live, and just walk through the mall and I don't even want you to pretend to do this, but you actually need to get into this state. Get mentally focused, fully locked in on where you're going. And you don't even have to be going anywhere. Just walk from one end of the mall to the other end of the mall, go downstairs and walk from one end to the other and walk around and go back outside and get in your car and drive off immediately as if you really have somewhere to be. If you can get yourself into this state emotionally and mentally and just walk through the mall like that, even though you're doing an experiment, you will notice that nobody gets in your way, nobody slows you down, nobody tries to talk to you, nobody tries to stop you, and there are no distractions. Why? Because you are so focused that all the possible distractions say, I'll distract somebody else because this person, they know where the hell they're going. I don't want this problem. I don't want to have to deal with this individual. Usually when you're super focused and super locked in, nobody gets in your way, nobody bothers you. When you are distracted and don't know where you're going, everybody gets in your way and everybody bothers you. Most people will tell you that when you're super locked in and focused, what does that mean? You're going to meet a whole bunch of other super locked in and focused people? Really? Think about that in your own life experience. Is that what you see happening? I don't think so. It's not what happens in my life experience. I don't run it when I'm super locked in and focused. I don't run into a lot of other locked in and focused people. What I run into is nothing. I don't even notice these other motherfuckers because I'm focused on what I'm doing. I don't even notice that they exist. They notice me, and guess what they do? Get the hell out the way, and they watch. Same thing they'll do for you. I'm just pointing it out to you. You need to understand this. So it's an interesting phenomenon, but a very true one about human nature. All right, bold energy gets people to get behind you and follow you. They never get in front of you. Let me repeat that. Bold energy, dangerous energy, causes people to get behind you, i.e. follow you, or get away from you and get out of your way and watch you from the sideline. Rarely does bold energy cause somebody to step in front of you. The only way somebody will step in front of someone who appears to have bold energy is someone who has more bold energy than you have. And those people are rare. And even those who have bold energy, when they see someone else with bold energy, they tend to look at you and say, okay, that person's similar to me. They're not going to try to slow you down. They're going to see what you're doing. And they're going to actually appreciate it because they're like, I know that energy that I see right there. They will actually appreciate seeing you doing what you're doing. When your energy is weak, everything gets in your way. Even things that weren't supposed to get in your way. The people don't change, ladies and gentlemen. The people around you have not changed. All that changes is your state. And they're just responding to the energy that you're giving. They're actually reacting to the energy you're giving. Most human beings, ladies and gentlemen, have no idea and are not even conscious of any of the shit that I've been talking about here for the last 13 minutes. They're not even aware of any of this stuff. So if you can take this in and really understand it, this gives you a huge competitive advantage dealing with human beings, no matter what you do, no matter who you are. Most people never consider how their energy is infecting everyone else and causing responses in everyone that they come across. Your energy causes the response of others. But again, most people get this wrong on a surface level and they say, well, my energy is a reflection of your energy. Bullshit. No, it's not. It's actually the opposite. People give you the mirror opposite of the energy that you bring. And if you really think about it, you'll notice this. The challenge for many of you, that many of you may be confused on that point, as I've said it for the third time, is that many of you have this confused, blah, middle of the road energy. And the mirror opposite of middle of the road is also being in the middle of the road. This is why most of the people you come across, when your energy is average, their energy is average. But if you get to the poles, you'll notice this very starkly and very quickly. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is you'll never be dangerous while playing it safe. Number 2, danger in this sense does not mean attacking people or being reckless. That's not what it means. Danger means using controlled and directed aggression. Definition of danger, again, is the possibility of suffering harm or injury. That's one definition. And it's also being the harm or injury. All right, so again, it depends on how you define the word danger. Everything is subjective, folks. Everything is relative in terms of when we're talking about energy and feelings. Because again, one of Newton's 3 laws of motion is that every energy brings its response, brings the opposite energy. So you can look at danger as something that could hurt you. You can look at danger as something that You can look at danger as you being the thing that can cause hurt. Just choose how you want to look at the word. And so when you think of the word danger, what's the first thing you thought of? Did you think of something hurting you, or did you think you hurting someone? Hurting something, excuse me. When you're in a controlled and aggressive mindset, you are subconsciously sending a signal to the world and to the subconscious minds of others that they could suffer harm or injury if they were to get in the way of what you're doing. And the good news is you won't ever have to actually execute that harm or injury to them, because most people will pick up on that subconscious signal 99.9% of the time and just move out the way rather than find out if you're real or not. They're going to find out if you're telling the truth, subconsciously telling the truth, and not you actually saying this out of your mouth. People can feel that energy. Our energy speaks, ladies and gentlemen. Your energy precedes you. People pick up on your energy before they pick up on your words. And they pick up more of the energy of what you say than they pick up on what you actually say, even when you do speak. And if you don't speak, people are reading your energy even if you never talk. Is this true? Of course it is. Most people will prefer to avoid a fight than to get in one, even a person who can fight. Right? So your mindset of being dangerous, that means being aggressive and doing it in a controlled way, it sends a signal out ahead of you that does most of the heavy lifting for you, and you don't have to do anything because your energy is speaking for you. The main thing that stops a lot of people from even thinking about getting into this mindset is their fear of what it would look like to be danger. Because when most people hear the word danger, you think about something happening to you rather than you happening to something. I'm trying to reframe the word for you. See, most people don't want to consider what I'm talking about here today because, again, you've been socialized and conditioned to believe that danger means something's going to happen to you. Why not flip it around? Another definition of danger is you happening to something. All right, and when you see an alligator, if I showed you a picture of an alligator, do you consider the alligator danger, or do you consider the alligator to be in danger? All right, which one is it? Alligators usually looked at as the danger itself. Why? Because alligators are predators. All right, usually they're doing the killing rather than getting killed. But there are animals out there that hunt and kill alligators, by the way. The whole point being, you can reframe this. Many people are afraid of certain energies that they have never even experienced having. Again, because you've been socialized into believing this is just not a way that you should be. If this is your problem, I would suggest you get over it, and I would suggest you get over it quickly. I'm going to tell you why on point number 3, but I will tell you in between, before I get to point number 3, I have a course called Bulletproof Mindset inside of Work on Your Game University. Just go to the link you see in the description, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Click on that link for the Work on Your Game Academy. All of our courses are in there available. One of them is called Bulletproof Mindset. And Bulletproof Mindset is all about installing this mindset of going on the offensive in life instead of playing life back on your heels, playing defense against life. But anyways, move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is that you can never be dangerous while playing it safe. Number 3, dangerous person is the most powerful person in the room. Regardless of what they have tangibly, regardless of who they are, their resume, who knows them, etc., etc. A dangerous person is the most powerful person in the room. Why is this? Because a dangerous person can exert influence over people, over situations, and over themselves. Why? Because I just told you about this in point number 1 and point number 2. Most people look at danger as something to be afraid of and to avoid. So if you are considered danger and you carry yourself with an energy that causes other people to register you as danger, they tend to get out of your way and comply with you simply because they don't want to deal with the danger. I told you, people have been socialized to be afraid of things. And if you present yourself as one of those things, again, not even maliciously, just in the energy that you carry yourself with, people tend to move out of your way. All of you can think of people you've dealt with in your life who fit this description that I'm talking about. Some of you are this person. All of you have been this person at one point or another at some point in your life. But all of you should be able to relate to this energy, whether you can think of yourself or you can think of someone else. Even something you saw on TV. I gave you the example, Walter White from the TV show Breaking Bad. He became danger. He went from being this nobody, forgettable high school teacher, loser high school teacher, to being the most dangerous person in town within a span of a few months. A dangerous person has power, okay? And they get noticed, they get followed. Powerful people get noticed and followed, don't they? You can notice that somebody's powerful even if you don't know who they are. All right, something about that person tells me that they're somebody. You ever seen somebody like that? I don't know who that is, but that person is somebody. Why? Why do you think they're somebody? Because of their clothes? Not necessarily. It's because somebody told you they're somebody? No. It's because they got a big sign on their forehead that says, hey, I'm somebody? No. It's their energy. You can read energy. All of you have the ability to read energy. If you didn't have it, you'd be dead by now. Because you would make the wrong move or say the wrong word to the wrong person at some point in your life and you wouldn't survive. All of you have this ability. It's the only way you survived as a child. I mean, a small child before you could talk. Dangerous people are noticed, noted, and followed because they have a certain boldness and confidence that most people only dream about having, but everyone knows what it feels like when they see it, so they're drawn to it. It's an interesting thing about confidence. A lot of people are bewildered by the concept of confidence and how to have more of it, but interestingly enough, when you come across someone who has a superb and a super high level of confidence and boldness and energy, you immediately notice that they have it, and you can't stop watching, noticing, and maybe even following that person, even though you tell yourself that you don't know how to get to that level of confidence. And you might be right. You might not know how to get there. One reason you don't know how to get there is simply because your mind is caught up with so much bullshit that you've been taught over the years that it's hard to sift through the bullshit thoughts to get to the clear thoughts. We just talked about this in yesterday's episode. Bold and confident energy is seductive in and of itself. A confident person is seductive. Many of you hear the word seduction and you think maybe sex or intimacy, and that's part of it. That's one aspect of seduction. But another aspect of seduction is magnetizing people, getting people to come closer to you just because of who you are. And again, it's not I'm famous. It's not, oh, I saw that person on TV. Yes, that's an Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan famous. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about seductive energy that makes people watch you and just note you, even though they have no idea who the hell you are. They don't even know your name. They see you, they're like, who's that? I don't know who that is, but it's somebody. Who is that? All of you have experienced this. That energy is seductive. Is the reason why people follow you, even if they have no idea who you are and they don't even know where you're going, but they'll keep watching because they just want to see who is it. All right. Anybody or anything that is noted as or believed to be dangerous tends to be given lots of space because people tend to not be able to take their eyes off of the dangerous thing or person. I was looking at a canal. I was down here in South Florida where I live. Any of you lives in South Florida, you know there's water everywhere in Florida, especially in South Florida. There's water everywhere. So anywhere you go, you can, within every half mile, there's water somewhere in South Florida. All right. No houses have basements because there's water right underneath the ground in South Florida. And I was looking at a canal and there were some ducks sitting there and I saw some turtles, maybe even some frogs. And I wondered, I wonder if there's an alligator in this water. Because any of you been anywhere where there are alligators, you know, alligators usually don't show themselves. They sit right underneath the surface of the water. And if you know how to spot them, you can see the circles, the ripples coming out of the water, or you can see their eyes or their snouts poking just above the surface of the water to where you can just tell that it's an alligator if you know what to look for. But rarely do they just pop out, especially when you're watching, because they can see you watching them. They're not going to pop out. Their whole deal is to not show you that they're there so that you make the dumb mistake of getting too close to the water. All right, and they get the last laugh. And I was wondering, if an alligator's in the water, how would you be able to tell? I mean, besides me as a human being able to look, but can you tell in other ways? Do animals know when there's an alligator in water? Can they tell? And I was reading up on this, and animals actually can tell. You'll notice that animals tend to stay away from the water as much. If you have a dog, your dog might growl at the water or not want to go close to the water because they can smell when a predator is around. They can sense the energy of the predator. They can smell the predator. They know it, even if animals tend to notice things before humans do, because us humans, we have our minds clouded with all these conscious thoughts that we have because we all think we're so damn smart. Animals aren't as smart. They don't have conscious thoughts. So they're always on alert when it comes to their senses. Their senses are super dialed in. Their instincts are very dialed in because they have nothing else to think about. Whereas humans, we got a ton of things to think about, and we tend to instinctively miss a lot because we're clouding our brains with conscious thoughts. So the whole point being, I'm bringing all this up to say that animals tend to notice predators a lot faster than humans do, simply because humans were always thinking about shit. Animals ain't thinking about nothing but let me not die today. How do I not die? A lion is thinking I got to kill something, and a gazelle is thinking I got to not get killed. That's the only thoughts they got all day. And the whole point here is, whether we're talking animals or humans, that predators tend to be given lots of space simply because, just like animals, human beings are wired to stay away from danger. Why? Because we don't want to encounter danger, because we don't want to take the risk of the danger doing the thing that we think the danger might do. This is why anyone who is perceived as dangerous tends to be left alone and given a wide berth and a lot of space to operate, because no one wants to test that danger. Does everybody understand this? This is the reason why your dog won't go near the edge of the lake, even though it drinks from the lake all the time. Won't go near the edge of the lake when there's an alligator in there, even though you didn't see the alligator. The dog saw it. The dog smelled it. The dog can sense the alligator. You can't. because you got AirPods in your ear and you're listening to fucking Joe Rogan podcast or the Dre All Day podcast, better yet, and you are thinking about whatever I'm saying in your ear, but the dog does not have that ability. So it's only focused on everything that's going on around it. It notices the alligator tracks over there that you just walked over. You didn't even see them. You understand this? And human beings, we do have this sixth sense. Sometimes it's a little bit slower for us to register compared to an animal, but we do register it. We register it very well. We do tend to notice humans. We may not notice animals as well as we notice humans because we're human. A dangerous human walks in the room, everybody notices. Why? Because human beings are subconsciously wired to be alert to danger and not let it out of our sight. We don't let danger out of our sight. Why? Because it can hurt us. All right. Would you let danger out of your sight? Because it might do something to hurt us. So when you become the danger, you become the proverbial lion in the room. And even if you're the lion that's lying on the floor, sleeping, nobody dares touch the lion because you don't want to wake the lion up because you know what the lion is capable of. And you keep, no matter what that lion does, you keep watching. You can't stop looking at the lion because whatever that lion does, you better be aware of it because you might need to run or get the hell out of the way. Point number 3, today's topic once again, is you cannot be dangerous. You can never be dangerous while playing it safe in life. Number 3, danger creates freedom. Danger creates freedom for you. Because see, when you're dangerous, all these things I've told you about in the first 2 points of this masterclass, everybody gets out of your way. People pretty much do what you want them to do, even if what you want them to do is just leave you the hell alone. When you appear to be dangerous, nobody bothers you. Notice that? When you come off as dangerous, nobody bothers you. People just leave you alone. By playing with or becoming dangerous or danger itself, you get more control over your time, your thoughts, your relationships, your movement, and everything else that matters to you. Why? Because people notice that I don't even want to find out what this person's about. Or if they know that you're dangerous, they say, I don't want what they did to the last person. I don't want them to do it to me. So let me chill out. Let me relax. You now have the freedom to do as you wish rather than do as you are told or as you are allowed. When you play it safe, your time, thoughts, movement, and everything else are generally dictated to you by something or someone who has decided to play it more dangerously than you have. That's simply how it works. Let me say that sentence again. I want all of you to understand what I just said. When you play it safe in life, whatever you consider to be safe, safety there's a scale of safety. Whatever you consider to be safe, your time, thoughts, movement, and everything else can be dictated to you by who? By someone or something who has decided to play life more dangerously than you have. Simple as that. If you really think about it, you'll realize how true this really is. If there's any person in life who can tell you what to do and you don't like the fact they can tell you what to do, you should ask yourself the question, how did that person get to the position where they can tell me what to do and I don't even like it and I have to listen? How'd that happen? There's something that you did and something that they did that led to each of you being in the position that you're in. The good news is you could change it. You can make a choice. You might not want to make the choice, but let's not pretend that there isn't a choice. I'm not saying you should make the choice. I'm just saying let's not pretend that there's not one. Okay, there's levels to this shit, as you all know. You will realize that you have a binary choice following this realization that anyone who has any type of power over you that you don't want them to have, or anybody who has power over you, period, regardless of whether you want them to have it or not, that you have a binary choice. You can keep playing it safe and be subject to those who are willing to be more dangerous than you are willing to be, or you can become the danger yourself, flip the script on anything in your life that has more say over your outcomes than you have, and now all of a sudden you're the danger. Now you have changed the dynamic of the conversation, changed the dynamics of the situation. I'll close by giving you one more example from this guy, Walter White, from this TV show Breaking Bad. Now this show came out 20 years ago, maybe a little bit less, 15 years ago. And if you haven't seen it yet, then I'm sorry for the spoiler alert. So early in the show, Walter White he has just started to make his methamphetamine, and he's working with his business partner who was a low-level drug dealer in the street, and his name was Jesse. And Jesse is just this punk drug dealer living at home with his parents and just 2-bit drug dealer. Walter's working with him, and Walter shows him, hey, we can make a higher quality meth, and this meth will outsell everybody else's because we got better drugs than everybody else. And that starts to occur. The thing is, Jesse is working with this, his supplier is this higher up drug dealer. I believe this guy's a Mexican because they're in the southwestern United States where the show is taking place. And I believe the higher up drug dealer, I believe his name was Tuco, but don't hold me to that. So Tuco at one point is having a conflict with Jesse. He's the higher up drug dealer. Jesse's this 2-bit bum white kid, suburban white kid selling drugs. And Tuco at one point just beats Jesse up. He has a conflict with Jesse, he beats up Jesse. Walter has a problem with Jesse getting beat up by Tuco because Jesse is Walter's business partner. So Walter is like, hey, you can't beat up my business partner. He doesn't say that to Tuco. He goes and visits Tuco. Now Tuco lives in this downtrodden part of town where there's all these Mexicans and tough-looking street guys. And Walter drives his little car, his little Honda Civic over there. And he gets out the car with this pale, middle-aged white man, bald head with glasses on, looking real nervous, and he walks into the lair where Tuco does his business. And of course, the tough street guys are looking at him like, who the hell is this white guy walking around here? Like, he thinks this is okay. And they're all giving him hard looks. He walks past all of them. He goes, has a meeting with Tuco. And Walter's talking to Tuco and telling Tuco, hey, what you did, you beat up my friend. He's my business partner. You don't know me, but, we got to, do something about this. And Tuco is pretty dismissive of Walter. He's high on drugs. He's like a coke addict. At the same time, he's talking to Walter and talking shit to him, laughing about how he beat up his business partner, et cetera, et cetera. And at one point, Walter pulls something out of his coat pocket. And it looks like it's a piece of methamphetamine because the meth it would come in these little blocks. And Walter pulls this out, and Tuco says, all right, so I beat the shit out of your partner, and now what? You're bringing me meth? What are you doing? You bought me a bag of meth? What do you think? Is this a joke? Because I can just beat the shit out of you too. If I could beat Jesse up, I could beat you up. You ain't no different physically than him. I could beat you up, take all your meth, and kick you out of here, and nothing's gonna happen. So how crazy must you be, old white man, to have even come here in the first place? And I'm paraphrasing this whole conversation. Walter takes this little block of what looks like methamphetamine. He says, well, here's the thing you got to understand, Tuco. He's saying this in a very halted language. If you watch Breaking Bad, you know how Walter spoke. He said, this is not meth. And Tuco is kind of looking confused. Well, he's waiting for Walter to finish the point. Well, what is it? Well, what Walter does is he takes this drug and he throws it on the ground. He throws it like towards Tuco's desk, and he throws it really hard with a lot of force. And when the thing hits the desk, it basically explodes. All right, the whole room in the building basically not explode like it collapses, but it explodes. And Walter, as soon as he threw it, he goes and runs for cover because he knows what's about to happen, but nobody else knows what's about to happen. So this thing explodes. Whole room explodes. Tuco is, after everything explodes, it's TV effects. Walter's standing there, and the whole room is in smoke, and the guys in the room who are working with Tuco, they're all in shock, and Tuco's sitting there in shock, and he's covering himself to keep from having debris fall on him. And Walter explains to Tuco, finally, as everybody is trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. And the guys outside, the whole building has exploded. So this all stuff on the streets and all that. Walter explains to Tuco, hey, this is not methamphetamine. This is, and Walter tells him what it is. It's some type of drug that Walter went and created in his lab. Because remember, he's an expert chemist. He can make meth, but he can make other things too. So he had made this basically a bomb. And he says, and he has a whole bag of this stuff in his hand. And he says to Tuco, he's showing the bag to Tuco while at the same time talking to him, saying, that's not meth. This is whatever it is. And he basically gives Tuco a warning. Hey, you better make this situation right. And then he leaves. And he walks out. And as he walks out of the building, and as he's walking out of the building, all these tough street guys who were staring him down when he first walked in, they're all kind of slowly moving out of his way as he walks out. Because he's the only one, Walter's the only guy walking around this street right now who doesn't look shocked at what the hell just happened, because he knows what happened. Everybody else is surprised. Again, folks, force equals mass times acceleration. Do things that make a big difference and do them fast. And the faster you do something, the more surprise you get, more of the element of surprise you have over your opponents. So everybody is sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? Walter knows what happened. They're all looking at him crazy. He walks over to his little Honda Civic or whatever it is that he's driving, and he gets in the car. And at that point, he has this little like emotional outburst of, if you see it, it's great acting. The actor is Bryan Cranston, by the way. And you can see that in him, there's a change that happens in that moment because he realizes what he just did. He said, he just realized that through the power of his skill in chemistry, combined with having a little bit of balls, that he can take these same guys that most people are afraid of approaching, and he can flip the script on them. Now he's dangerous to them rather than them being dangerous to him. And the entire show, Breaking Bad, is built on this premise. So again, people who made Breaking Bad, y'all should send me a royalty check for just selling your show. But this is pretty much how it lays out. But let me recap today's class, which is why you can never be dangerous while playing it safe. And again, I just told you where this came from. Number one, danger is bold. Bold energy moves objects out of your path and that unconsciously tells people to get the hell out of your way. And they do so without you having to say a word. Number 2, danger in this sense does not mean attacking or being reckless. It means being controlled and directed with your aggression. And aggression does not necessarily mean attacking others. Aggression just means you are direct about what you want and you're going straight towards it. And when you have that level of clarity, people tend to notice that and they just leave you alone. Number 3, the dangerous person is the most powerful person in the room because you can exert influence over people, situations, and yourself. You are noticed, you are noted, and you are followed simply because you have a boldness and a confidence that most people only dream about having. So when you show that you have it, other people get behind you and follow you simply because you have something that other people wish they could have and you're the one who has it. And point number 4, I know I said point number 3, so it was actually 4 points here today. I said number 3 twice. Point number 4, danger creates freedom. By becoming the danger yourself, you get more control over your time, your thoughts, your relationships, your movement, and everything else that matters to you, simply because other people don't want to deal with the possibility that your danger represents. Most people are socialized to be timid, hesitant, tentative, and fearful. And if you represent something that triggers those emotions in other people, they tend to just comply with you or get the hell out of your way, which gives you much more freedom to do whatever the hell you want to do with your life. Is this a magic formula? I would say so. And Work on Your Game University, folks. We have the Bulletproof Mindset course. You can get that inside the academy. We have the circle, which you can get into so you have access and you get clear, direct action steps as to what to do next in your business, in your career, whatever you're doing. We have our full coaching program where you have me as your personal coach, and we will work on scaling and systematizing up your business from the 6-figure level and above. All of that is at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all